few months ago, I had the pleasure of getting together with some major players in the web, film, and television world. I spoke with these women about their journeys in the industry and what it takes to change the game. Introducing Numa Perrier, actress, artist, and co-founder of Black and Sexy TV. Issa Rae, writer, producer, actress, and creator of Awkward Black Girl. Blaine Featherson, singer, actress, dancer, and co-creator of Hello Cupid. Lena Waithe, writer and producer of Shit Black Girls Say, The 20s, and the highly anticipated Dear White People. And there's myself, actress, singer, producer, writer, best known for my role as Hazel on Degrassi, and most recently, my web series, Black Actress.
Black on black on black.
Okay, so do you guys think there is a problem with how Black women are portrayed in contemporary media right now?
Here we go.
Uh-oh.
Talk about it, Numa.
Here we go. You know, I was thinking about this on the way over here, actually. Okay,
Of course
I
you
really
are.
was, because I'm constantly thinking about our images and personal image, world image, and I think the easy answer is yes. There is a problem. There's been a problem for decades. I think that there's maybe another side to it that we don't always talk about, which is some women exist that behave a certain way.
That behave like the stereotypes?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Like Robin
and
hip-hop.
that's who they are, that's who they are, so I always think about that side of it too. And then I think about how sometimes it doesn't bother me as much about the images that are out there because I'm seeing more images that I feel I relate to more. Okay. So I'm not consumed or consuming that content that feels anti to my sense of truth as a human being. So the more that we're consuming that, the more you're going to feel that way. The more that you focus and consume other content that you feel is a reflection of you, the less you feel that way. So, and I just came to that, conclusion because this conversation is always coming up and I start getting kind of bored with the conversation. I'm like, well, what's the other side to it? Some people relate to that content and why should they be discredited for who they are?
I watch that content. I consume the content. I support it. I bought a shirt from, the content.
You ain't about to life.
But, the only issue to me is that, there's not more of the other stuff. I think that as Black women, we're always relegated to one image, one impression, one stereotype. And that's the issue. It's really about the public perception. We know when we're watching these shows, that like, okay, I know these women exist, but I know that there are a lot of women that aren't like this. Yeah. But the general public and mainstream media tends to pigeonhole us, and the opportunities are limited as a result of these shows because we are supporting them. So while you're looking for other content,
you're watching that.
Great. Yeah. You're looking for. I'm looking for other content too, but this is the content that is the mainstream. And so until we find ways to put the other content that balances this, then we're going to be in the same boat having this conversation forever.
Yeah, I think that's part of the problem though. Is that is it that there is only one big image that's put out into the mainstream, and like you're saying, we're not all like that, but. If you are not a Black woman, if you are not a Black person, the one image that you would have of Black women, to me, would be, VH1. Like,
Actually, I sort of think there's sort of two extremes. I think you have sort of a, love and hip hop type of thing, but then you have this other extreme where it's sort of like the Olivia Popes of the world, or like some of these characters you see, like would it be Baggage Claim, or think like A Man 1, 2, and 3, Part 4, whatever. It's sort of like this situation where either we are sort of pristine, wearing suits, or we're very wealthy and looking down on everybody, or then you have the old girl Jocelyn. You know what I'm saying? So it's like to me we have these extremes, and I think on both sides really, where you get the bougie and then the sort of ratchet, and I think there's sort of more of a middle ground that we're missing. But there's sort of the middle class Black people that sort of live everyday life, and I think that to me is sort of what I'm missing.
Yeah, my issue is just the lack of representation, you know what I mean? And I think because I know so many amazing writers and directors and filmmakers and stuff like that, and I know the type of great content that people are writing, but I'm having a big issue wondering why every other day there's a new love and hip hop-esque type of show, but there's only a scandal.
do you think that there's a solution to the problem that we're saying in terms of finding a way to make the average Black woman, the middle ground Black woman, look like this makes money. This people watch this. People want to see stuff like this.
I think it's tough. I think a lot of pressure's on BET, you know, to kind of sort of step their game up and to change the sort of image. And I think they're trying, but I still think there's this sort of thing where when you do bring something to them that is sort of middle ground, I think they still feel like they have a base that they have to reach. It's tough with BET a little bit because they have a base that they want to speak to and they have an audience that they want to serve, and sometimes the middle ground doesn't really fit into what they're doing. And then to me, that's why I'm looking at like the Netflix or the IFCs or the Sundance channels, honestly, to kind of be a place where they may go, oh, that's new and interesting and exotic, and let's try that. Because to me, that is the only real place to go, I think, if you're a Black creator that has something that's not so necessarily for BET or VH1, because the networks sort of don't want to take that chance on it. And so I thought we have to go this indie route in TV world, or you do the web.
Yeah, I think it's like our tastes are being partitioned anyway. There is a mainstream, but we don't fit in it right now. And I think that if we were to support, like if there was a Black is the New Black starring Blackity Black Black Black, and everyone was talking about that, you know, and then the mainstream would get a hold of it and say, hey, I want to watch this too, but it's still outside of these mainstream networks. Like, we just have to really talk it up, promote it word of mouth, and that's the only way to be a part of the conversation in a way.
Handling the shit on our own, creating our content and figuring out how to monetize it, how to grow it, how to reach the Black people worldwide who want to see it, because it is worldwide.
It is,
you know, and this may be, you know, the genesis of that movement, but we have to stay the course, and we have to look less to a Black person being at the network or a white person understanding our story, or those are things that, some people are just gonna have to get old and die before those things change. You know, but we have these vast opportunities that we're seeing amongst ourselves, you know. I really wholeheartedly believe in that if we stay the course and we find ways to reach our worldwide audience, because that's the thing with the web, you're not just relegated to your region. You have the world, you have Black people in Korea, you have South Africa, you have all these little spots in the world where people have phones and they have internet and they're watching us.
Yeah.
So,
and that's what it's becoming about anyway. Like, even executives and just film in general, like that international box office, that international revenue, those international eyeballs, that's what matters. So if there's a way to show that we appeal worldwide, our culture already does. Like, everyone's trying to be Black, so it's like, why can't they put two and two together outside of, like, basic dance films and whatever else there is that's mainstream worldwide?
No. So do you guys feel then that there is more support online when it comes to when it comes to putting out your content and, like you're saying, getting the audience, getting people to believe? Like, have you had more success in the online world versus pitching in meetings to networks and all of these different things?
People online are so grateful for content that reflects them, and that I found specifically. Like, they're grateful when it's free. Let's be clear there. But they're grateful for some sort of outside image that they can turn to and relate to. So there's definitely a support system there, but it's hard to fund content without any, sponsorship support or, any other financial support. So there's definitely a community, but it's a matter of translating that community to a larger space.
Yeah. And did you find the same, Numa? Because I know it's like you guys had Black and Sexy stuff on Netflix, and versus being on the internet. What was, the challenges, I guess, for you with both of those different things?
Well, because we started with the film A Good Day to Be Black and Sexy, which, had a short theatrical run and then was licensed by Showtime and then, went to Netflix. And, it's an art house film. Yeah. So, but it definitely gave us that first base for when we launched Black and Sexy TV. Those fans did come with us. The ones that knew about it, and some are still trickling in now. We still consider ourselves very cross-platform, so it's, still conversations with networks, but the feeling that we have today going into a network meeting is totally different than the feeling we had a year ago going into a network meeting, because we've built that fan base out where we're much more relaxed because they're coming to us. Yeah. And they're saying, I ran across your show on YouTube. can you guys come by, instead of us trying to find a panel that they might be sitting on and say, hey, over here we got shows. We're not doing that anymore. We've stopped doing that. We're like, we're not pitching ourselves to people anymore. The right people will find us. We're going to keep doing the work, and when the right people come, they better have the right offer, because there's value there, and that's what I'm talking about. We have to value ourselves more, and we have to stay the course. And yes, there is much more support online, because you're reaching people. I mean, it's just limitless. It's absolutely limitless.
Ashley, as an actress, have you seen a level of success more online than versus just the, regular traditional TV film route?
For sure. I think that the most interesting things, I think people are almost more inspired that I'm doing something on the web than if I were to just be like a guest star on Scandal. I think they're really, and I don't mean just people that know me, I mean random people on the street. Or I get emails from people finding my website or whatever, just so inspired. You've inspired me to go out and try to do my own thing, or you've inspired me to try to, gain a following that way. It's helped my personal brand, but it's also, like I said, I think people are really inspired by Black and Sexy TV and Issa Rae Productions, because it's what? They did this without a BET?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. So HBO wasn't giving them money behind closed doors, or wait, so actually you didn't just wait to get some audition to do something. It's it's igniting a fire in people that's saying, I'm not gonna sit at home and wait for, like you said, for things to just come to me. I'm not putting any work into it. It's I'm gonna be driven and I'm gonna make it happen. Even my representation, they're kind of oh, people are calling us, and I'm yeah, well, it took me kind of, and I had to be honest, I didn't tell them that I was doing Hello Cupid.
Yeah.
I did it and was hey guys, here's the first episode. Because they didn't need to
talk you out of it. I found that with my representation.
Yeah.
I don't tell them any of the online ventures. They're very upset about it. Premiere party last night, they don't know about it. Because if it's they don't see the value.
No,
they don't see the value.
They're like, there's no check.
Honestly, the reason I'm represented by you guys in the first place is because of our
Exactly.
But they start feeling it when people are calling them hey, so Issa, that's when my representation started sitting up all right, let's
you have to stay the course. You have to believe in what you're doing. Yeah. They will call you, your audience will grow, and they will be looking at you I think you guys can handle this. Yeah. What kind of deal can we put together?
Yeah.
We'll go back and think about it. We'll think about that.
I think the big thing too is if something really is successful or is connecting with people, that's what makes folks, really chime in. It's because a lot of people, I think now, you do have a lot of, it's a ton of web series out there, a ton of things that aren't necessarily even that good. But because people are just I want to have some, and that's why I think the way these executives or people are sort of picking and choosing, it's okay, this has really got people talking, people are really watching this, because the reason why we didn't have to really pitch Dear White People was because people were coming to us. They were what is this? And when we literally sat with every studio in this town because of that trailer. Because people, if we had 2 views, maybe not. You know what I'm saying? But because it got on CNN, Huffington Post. So I think that if you have something that's a phenomenon, The Couple was something that really kind of pulled me in. And even though I know you start with the number, for whatever reason, I clicked into The Couple, and then I was oh, what else is going on? So I think, and obviously everybody heard about Awkward Black Girls. So it has to be something that people are really talking about and connecting to, and that's what makes these people at these offices go, well, if everybody's talking about it, then maybe we should get on it. So you kind of have to have something that's a movement on its own already.
If you were to give advice for somebody else, how do you and all of you develop your fan base online? Because I find these days, because of Twitter and all of this stuff, I find, everybody thinks, oh, it's okay, I'm going to do a play, I'm just going to advertise it on Twitter. And they have 2 followers. And you're like, that's not how this thing works. It takes some time, you got to build it up, you have to have an audience before you could even say, boom, here you go, here's the link, right? Because, like you said, it's got to be something good that everybody pays attention to. So how did you all how did you get Ship Black Girl Say to really take off? Was it just because it was kind of a spinoff of what was going on?
I'll be honest, I didn't have a plan with that at all. That was one of those things that kind of hit and people sort of took to it. And that was one of the things that really kind of got me like talking in person to Dennis and Numa, because I had like been talking to them online, and they were like, you should come to the house, like let's have a conversation. So I was like, okay, but like it was literally a thing where I wanted to spoof, and I wrote it and we produced it, and we put it up and we put it online, so went. But from there though, it was like building. I was then like that was really my introduction into doing web stuff, and it is sort of like being baptized with fire when you like have something that goes like that. Probably you can say the same thing with Awkward Black Girl, where it was like the first thing you kind of did, and then people really took to it. So you sort of like, oh, okay, now let me figure this out. And then I knew I wanted to collaborate with Dennis and Numa, and we just couldn't figure out. We were trying to figure out what the right thing was. So that really was my introduction. What I realized for me was like talking back to people, because people then start inboxing you and tweeting you and like following you. And the biggest thing is you have to communicate with those fans, and you have to like really kind of like what's up, what's going on? Yeah, I like that. Da-da-da. And having coffees with people and I think once people realize you're going to hit them back and you're going to have a conversation, then it just sort of that's to me what the building is, you know. And then when I did something else. You know, we did Shit Black Girls Say Too, and then the next thing that really sort of followed it was the Dear White People trailer that I helped produce. And so folks, and once they see they can trust you and your content continues to be something they like, that's when they kind of stick around and they want to be a part of that community. So that's sort of how I sort of did it.
Yeah. How did you guys all find your individual voice in this sense? Because I think if there's one thing amongst all of you, I think it's unique, right? Like we're all Black women here, and we can all relate to certain things, but everybody here has been able to successfully tell a different story and a different part of being a Black woman online and in your work. So, you know, what was your journey, I guess, in finding that voice for yourself? Like, was it a lot of trial and error? Like, did you have many awkward Black girls and you were like, oh, okay, this one finally fits? You know, how did it kind of start?
You know, social media was huge in helping me find my voice. Like, I love to write, I love to put things out there, and even my start was just Facebook. Facebook, I was always on it, always trying to write funny statuses, always trying to build a fat following, adding, like, it started off with, like, adding all the Senegalese people I knew. Like, there was, like, 10 of them on Facebook, and then they multiplied, and, like, really trying to interact with different people online, and then starting a blog, a Black film blog, where all I did was talk, you know, shit about films that I either loved or I hated, and Black films specifically, I was like, why isn't there something better? Why isn't there something, you know, new and fresh? And so I was trying to build a following through that. And so I started my first web series in college, and that was something, you know, I publicized it through Facebook and YouTube, and that was its own thing, but I didn't take it seriously. And then, you know, Awkward Black Girl was my third web series that I ended up putting out, and by then I had a sort of command of what, just trial and error. Like, I knew that I wasn't going to make it longer than 7 minutes or 3 minutes or 4 minutes, whatever it was, because I knew that people had a short attention span, and I knew that I'd release it on a certain time of the day, and I knew that I would contact specific bloggers and a specific demographic to try to see if they'd post it. Like, I had a plan for that one because I knew that I wanted it to stay online, whereas the other ones, I was like, I'm going to try to put this online and get it to TV. So it was the only time where I was like, okay, this is about to be online, F it. I know I don't have a chance on TV. Let's just cultivate what I have here. And so that was the only solid plan I had. I had no idea that it was going to take off the way that it did. Yeah. And I built from there, like Lena was saying earlier, like you figure it out as you go along. But that was the only conscious thing I did to try to build my following and really brand my voice.
I think for me, like being an actor, but also having that need to want to create content, something that was really big for me was being very strategic about my collaboration. So I was it was strategic that I reached out to Lena and was like, hey, like, how do you feel about this? Let's throw some stuff out about it. You know, you're an amazing writer. I want you to write on it. It was very strategic that I went to Black and Sexy TV because I liked the content that they had, and I wanted to work with them. So it wasn't willy-nilly at all. Like, I knew exactly how I wanted to. I knew that I had the option to just shoot a web series in my house, like, you know, using my phone or something like that. But I wanted it to be more than that, and I wanted to learn from people around me that were already doing it and doing it really well. But I think in finding my voice, I have just, because I'm not a writer and I don't claim to be, but I am a creator, and I do find that my voice is really telling organic stories, but also making sure that it's an accurate depiction of whatever it is. So I don't like things that seem weird or like that would never happen. I don't like stuff like that. Where some people do. Yeah. But as far as the content that I want to continue to create, I'm really all about it being organic. and also representing people of color. That and I don't like feeling like I have to apologize for saying that. I think some people are kind of like, well, don't you just want to say you're just like an actress? And I'm like, no, because I mean, I am a Black actress. That will never go away. It's who I am. When you see me in the world, just like I am a Black woman. It just is who I am. So I'm unapologetic about the fact that I'm a Black actress and I enjoy making content for other Black people.
As content creators, as actors, as writers, as what are you trying to set when people think of you?
To me, I really want to be remembered as sort of being a good storyteller. That I think is really what it always boils down to for me as a writer. And I think what I've noticed is a pattern in my own voice as I sort of read through the like 10 or 12 pilots and features I've written is that it's about relationships between women. Whether it be mother-daughter, best friends, sisters. Sometimes the relationships can be romantic. But for me, it's always, I want to tell interesting stories about the relationships women have with each other. And what that's like in those dynamics. And also, too, I hope that I can somehow let some kid know that the world is bigger than their own backyard, because that's sort of what A Different World did for me. It was a really kind of living on the south side of Chicago, having a single mom, my grandmother helped her out. It really sort of painted a world that I could see and that I wasn't a part of, but I wanted to see myself in. And I think that they did that in a very authentic way, in a very honest way, in a very funny way, in a way that still holds up. Because to me, I don't want to write a show that's just funny now or people like, but I want to write a show that people can like 20 years from now and it still resonates. As I always say, I want to write TV that sticks. That's what Cosby Show does. That's what Mary Tyler Moore Show does. That's what All in the Family does. Will Big Bang Theory still be interesting 10, 20 years from now? I don't know. Will Tyler Perry stuff still hold? I'm not sure. Spikes will. It has. I hope some of the couple stuff lasts. I hope Hello Cupid is still being remembered. Awkward Black Girl will still stick, I think, So to me, I want to do something that really sticks to the ribs. Isn't just here and now.
Nice. I totally get that. I think for myself, I'm big on women of color. I really want to be able to tell the story of women of color. And like Ashley, because I'm an actress, my whole life has been being about a Black girl. Every part I get, it's because I'm a Black girl. Or I don't get a part because I'm a Black girl. So my experience in this world has just been so Black girl, Black girl. I grew up with majority white people, and I'm the Black girl in the class of all white people. And then, then I got to high school and there's Black people. I'm like, I'm with Black girls. Yeah. It's like, so my life has been about Black women. And so for me as an artist, overall, it's just, I completely want my story to be that I broke down barriers for Black women and told the proper story for Black women. And you got to see all sides of Black women, whether she's ratchet or she's bougie, doesn't matter. So that's just the impact I'm trying to make. Numa?
I think I had time to think about it, so thank you. I think it's really about connecting with people and connecting others to each other across the world. I've traveled to a lot of different places, and that's just one of the things that makes me tick. Knowing, just hearing, Ashley talk about that, she approached Lena and she approached us because there was this infrastructure that was created, even if we weren't, firmly connected. There was this connection there that she wanted to plug into. And all over the world, I think that can exist, and I feel like that's part of what we're doing, and that's something that's really important to me, is to kind of solve that feeling of isolation. I think a lot of Black people have, like the story you just told about, well, I grew up, around a lot of white people. I spent, a majority of my childhood in a lot of small American towns with a lot of white people. I've heard a similar story, from Issa and Ashley, and a lot of them. And I think growing up, a lot of us felt very isolated and felt like there was hardly anyone else like us in the world. And all over the world, we are like this. We've had these experiences. So for me, that's what it is. It's just you solving that isolation, connecting people, worldwide.
Mine is diversifying our representation. I want to have a stake and a part in making us mainstream again and making our images cross all platforms and cross all countries, and that's a big thing for me. I want to. It's much like what you guys were saying. To have. I want people to watch our content and see themselves and appreciate it for what it is. The other thing that I'm passionate about is like showcasing other artists of color, and that's not just Black people. It's just really I want to focus on minority isolated groups in a way. So anything that gives them a voice, anything that I can support, whether monetarily or giving them a platform, like I'm big on that. So
monetary?
not right now. In the future. We said what we want to do. Not yet, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, for me, I just really want to be someone that leaves a legacy, that little girls who look like me or don't look like me can say, Ashley did it, I can do it.
Well, I want to thank all of you for your brilliant words and
you,
your
darling.
inspiration. And
Quotables.
and for coming here, for being pretty, all of those things.
We wake up looking like this.
Yeah.
Definitely.
This is Black Women Not Fighting.
.com.
Yeah, exactly.
Black women, I love it.
Black Women Not Fighting.
That's the one.
Black women at a round table. Black women not eating.